guarantee you guys will be standing after
I'm not gonna be standing.
after a couple minutes.
Gordon and
Now I
Hayden back
fit in.
again.
Yeah, this is. All right, you guys feeling good? Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going
We're
to.
building a PC during work hours. I mean,
Yeah.
like, come on.
Bringing the audio down, and I'm switching over to that camera right in front of you.
All right.
There
Hey,
we are.
look, it
We're
works.
live.
Hi,
We're here.
We're
everybody.
gonna just cut off the first part of the non-live discussion.
Yeah, we're here. Woo!
Hopefully, I don't think that can be done, but oh well.
Welcome.
Hey, everybody, we are here. It is what I don't know.
10:05.
February, early 2018.
Oh,
If you
geez.
look out your window, it's Mad Max out there, folks. You can't get no GPUs. It's over. There are no more GPUs.
No more GPUs.
They haven't been made for years. Like it's just like Mad Max. Like you're like, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna like show up with a video card like a GTX 1080 at some LAN party, and people say, "Oh, it's the last of the V8 interceptors." These are all Mad Max references. Lane has never seen it.
Give
She's
us a
too
good
young.
Tina Turner line.
Well, it's not that I'm.
No
too
one knows
young.
the Tina Turner
Beyond
Thunderdome.
the
That's just like,
Thunderdome,
whoa.
That's a good one. That's
No, all they know is the new one.
Uncultured.
But I'm just saying, it's the end of the world, folks. You can't get no more GPUs. NVIDIA, Jensen's taking that money. He says, we're going. I'm building a space rocket. We're leaving for Mars. No more GPUs. AMD says, forget it. You are not worthy. The only place you're going to get your game on is this, right? We are building a Ryzen 3 2200G with Vega desktop graphics. My God, is that the actual correct name?
I think so.
Radeon Vega.
Ryzen desktop processor with Radeon TM Vega graphics. That's what it's technically called. If you don't say TM, you might get sued. This, of course, is a quad-core Ryzen chip. As you know, folks, we're going to put this in this baby with Vega graphics, Vega 8 in this particular one, so 8 CUs.
And this is
I'm extending this because there's only 5 parts in this machine, so that's why. We'd be done in like 10 minutes.
To extend it, let's talk about it. This is the $100, I guess 99 technically, version. There's also a $170 version. This is the 2200G. There's also a 2400G. This one is 4 cores, 4 threads. The one that's more expensive is 4 cores, 8 threads. And you get like what, 3 more compute units for graphics side?
3 more compute units, a little more clock speed, and somewhere where's
Yeah,
our
it's our
specs?
charts right
a little
here.
more clock speed, 3.6 gigahertz to 3.9 gigahertz on the 2400U for $70, but you get your SMT/hyperthreading for people who speak Intel. 3.5 to 3.7. I don't know if you've already mentioned this clock.
Not yet.
No, okay, good. So a couple hundred more. I got to say, I'm really in love with the $99 part because you're getting decent, very good 720p gaming for that, and we are going to prove that. We're going to build this machine. We're going to fire it up. We'll run Crysis 7. We'll run Crysis 7. That means I am using an existing build. This is the drive I have been doing all the testing on. It's just a standard SATA drive, although it's not. It's a very nice high-end MLC drive. All the parts here, I think it's added up to maybe $600, but I'm using some little pricier stuff. This SSD is about $120, $110, 240 gigs, but it is an MLC drive, not today's lower price TLC drive. If you did a TLC drive, you lose some performance, but you can get them down to like what, $70? I was looking at
70.
about $70 for 240 gigs. So you don't have to build the exact same thing. It's just a SATA interface. The board that we are using, I don't know if it's even on sale yet. They announced this at CES. This is a seed unit from AMD. It's a mini ITX board, MSI, give it the props, B350i Pro AC board. It does have M.2 on the bottom. Most of these mini ITX boards are doing this now. So if we wanted to, we could put an M.2. I sort of think most people, so you would agree most people are going to use SATA drives?
Yeah, if you're doing a budget build.
Yeah, for a budget build. So, I have been using this, just so you know, this did not come out of the box. This thing is called a box. Did not come out of the box unused. I've been using this. Of course, this morning I had to break it down for probably the 3rd or 4th time, take everything apart, put it back the way you would sort of get it in this box.
And the reason why you
don't
had to
like
break
that.
it down was because you just finished the review.
I just finished
on these
reviewing it.
APUs.
On the AP. It's an awesome part. I did put these mounts back on it, so people have not built an AMD machine since the AM3 days, the days of FX and Phenom and all that stuff. It still comes with the standard AMD cooler brackets, you know, those little spring clip ones that have been used forever. These are default on most of the boards. I'm going to pull out the, oh, you can do it.
He's already outsourcing his labor.
Yes, we're going to.
Already, man. Real quick, Leslie Lai over on YouTube is saying that you can overclock the Vega iGPU to 1.5 to 1.6 gigahertz, correct?
You can, both the GPU and CPU are unlocked, so you can overclock them. AMD has shown off some pretty good specs on it. Overclocks, honestly, the amount of time people had to test 2 parts, I didn't do any overclocking testing. So this heatsink is a standard one that does come with the 2200G and the 2400G. It's an aluminum heatsink. There's no copper slug in here. It does have, if you can see in the video, it does have the standard heat pad thermal paste applied on here, so we're not going to have to apply any on this unit, which is kind of cool. Makes it easy. But as you can see, the main thing is you get the screws here, right? Oh, we need the CPU out of there too.
Oh, I didn't know where it was. I was looking for a second.
Yeah. So what you got to prep the motherboard, we'll go ahead and do that. We are
The
in
sticker.
here we go. I put the CPU back in the box. I cleaned it off as best as I could. There you go, Ryzen 3 2200G, 99 bucks. Gives you 720p gaming capability. Again, let me go ahead and prep the motherboard. If you are getting a stock cooler with your CPU, you've got to remove the stock AMD cooler bracket, old style Phenom FX. Right? Unscrew it, pops off. Keep these probably in your motherboard box because you might need them one day. You decide to give it away, and they're going to be using an older heatsink that they have from AMD product. Make sure you keep it. Don't throw it away.
Gregory over on YouTube says you forgot to mention the most important tool, which is the Coors Light.
Oh, the Coors Light, yes.
You haven't prepped that yet.
All right, let me
True.
prep that.
You
You're right.
definitely need to do that.
So you can keep those with your extra.
So it's recommended that you don't drink and build, but it is in the morning. We are getting paid to drink this. This is Coors Light. I requested Budweiser, the king of
No,
beers.
you
but
said Coors Light. I
Apparently-
could have swore you said Coors Light.
apparently Adam cannot tell the difference. It's all
You
okay.
can't tell the difference.
It all
Too
comes out of
busy
the
with-
same dispenser. All right.
You're too busy with your $2 Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, right.
Gordon is a Budweiser guy.
I am a Budweiser guy.
He's classic. He's at Oakland. Is that what they
Yeah.
do over in Oakland?
Oh, I think it's a little different. So on the back of the motherboard, this will pop off, right? So make sure that you keep the plastic on here if you're doing any board build, because if you don't, you might short something out. So make sure that stays on there. Oops.
So is this your first time building a PC, Gordon?
Yeah, first time I've never actually
Sweet.
built one, which is a good
Which
thing.
way does the CPU go in?
First
Let
time,
the
long
CPU
time.
go in.
We'll just jam it in.
I have worked with people. Now, of course, the most dangerous part whenever you're building any PC, I'm just going to say this as a warning, don't mess with these pins. These pins, they will bend very easily. The good news is you can kind of bend them back, but
Why put yourself in that situation?
why do that, right? So we're going to take it.
Also, we have PC World's own Brad Charkis in the
Oh.
chat on YouTube with us, and he said that you open the beer directly over the motherboard. And
He
he's
did.
cringing. Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
Now, you can put your beer on the... It's not all right.
Oh, that's how you cool it, right? For the cooler overclocks.
It works.
Did you even check to make sure the triangle is aligned, or you just drop it in, drop the beer right on top of it?
I did. So just so people want to know, you've never done it before. A lot of people are doing a budget build. There is a little triangle on here. It matches the triangle in the socket. I would be very careful about it because oftentimes those triangles are impossible to see, especially if you're a little older like me and you've been drinking. There's not enough light. I was in the hardware store the other day, and I was saying, there's not enough light because I couldn't see in here. And this other old guy was like, dude, maybe it's just your eyes. It was like, that's a burn, man. That's just like, that's not cool. Right? Okay, so we have our standard AMD cooler that comes with it.
Gordon, how come you're not wearing a one of those grounding bracelets?
I do have a grounding bracelet. It is, you just can't see it. It's inserted in my body. I have a orifice I put the grounding strap into, and then I just sit on it. And so it's not a problem. It's actually the safest way to actually make sure that you're grounded.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Now, when you're putting the fan in, I've noticed that you've oriented a specific way. I assume
Yeah,
that's
Chad is already saying it's backwards the way you
Well,
did.
so look, no, what I'm saying is like, look,
because you have to leave room for the RAM.
right? So the issue is if you're putting your RAM in here, so say it's assumed, and I don't know, because some of these memory modules, they get huge. I mean, they're just like, they're huge. So if you do the other way, check it out. Now you screw this thing in, you're like, oh, where do I put my last module, right? So it's not gonna work. And you know, I will say, I'm gonna. So see, I don't know if you can see this. Let's get a close up on this. So
All right,
I am
super
gonna,
close up.
Super close up. We're getting messing up, getting a little thermal. But this is the problem, right? So your RAM goes right here. Ain't gonna happen. I don't know why they have the slots here because AMD should really go like, oh, we should put it on the other end, you know. But I guess maybe for keep out zones for the other end. See, when I did that, I got a little bit of thermal paste on there.
Oh no, ruined. Already ruined.
So we are just.
I gotta say, a lot of people in the chat really love this pink case. And yes, it is Silverstone.
Silverstone. What S?
Yeah, people are really liking it.
And this is my choice for all the people saying, "Oh, it's for Elena. It's Elena's choice." She doesn't like
No,
pink.
Gordon was like, hey, this is awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. My daughter loves pink, which is interesting because my wife does not like pink. But
Yeah, I'm with your wife on
What
that.
color pink would you say this is? Is this a Pepto pink or is this like carnation?
Pepto.
it's rose gold.
No, it's an apple pink.
This is rose gold.
Also, Enigmastic over on Twitch is saying you got your wish. The PSU is non-modular.
Yes.
So
We can talk about the PSU
Yeah.
choice in a second.
also over on Facebook, Raphael says that he has quartz crystals in his arms, so it's not a problem when he's building. Makes it easy.
Sounds slightly uncomfortable,
Yeah, I know,
though.
right?
Just a little,
It's like a superhero origin story.
Yeah.
right?
See, I knew he was going to stand up.
Got to stand up at some point.
Yeah, right?
So you're supposed to go in a crossing star pattern. It's not really a problem with this. This is.
So is this
good.
easier or harder to put in than Threadripper?
Trick question.
You can actually build an entire system before you can install the Threadripper processor. So another rookie move, you got to make sure you plug in your heatsink fan. This is a good time to do it now. What the hell? So, right?
How are you going to tuck it away? How are you going to make it look pretty?
It's not going to look pretty.
Oh, Gordon doesn't like pretty cases.
So out of the motherboard box, what do we got in here? Oh, we got our Wi-Fi antennas.
Oh, it's built-in Wi-Fi. Nice.
802.11 AC. This motherboard, I don't think it's on sale yet, but it's going to be about $100 to $120 bucks, like most Mini
I was
XX
just
boards.
about to say, like, with this fancy extra stuff, it can't be your standard $60 cheap board.
Right. What are we going to do next? So let's install the RAM. So the RAM I am using for this build, this box says 2x8 because I just wanted to have a box that's actually 2x4. Because you know what? There's no more RAM either. No more RAM. No more GPUs, no more RAM. They're not making any more. So anyway,
Not that any of us
gig.
can afford.
Two 4 gig DIMMs. These are Vengeance. I was looking it up. I do have the price list. So this box, as we built it with these parts, maybe $550, $600. But I actually, amazingly, I was pricing this build out. $99 APU, a $60 board, so it would not be a small build, but sort of a cheaper case. You can do this entire build for basically $505 with $100 for the OS.
Nice.
Or you could go
Not
with the
this
OS for
particular
cheap.
build. This
Right.
you do pay. Right, you're paying extra for basically a Mini ITX. So for people who have not done this, there is a notch on DDR4. I've complained about this before. It's in the middle. It should be farther on the edge so you can tell where it is. There may be engineering reasons for it. Oop, and that's backwards. See, I can just match it with the other one in there.
Well, yeah, and good thing you didn't put the AMD on the other side because it definitely wouldn't have.
Yeah, it
Like
would.
that was
You
the point.
might
Yeah.
be able to do it. I just don't, because you don't know if you don't have low-profile DIMMs. Look, see again, you would be. It would not fit. You'd be hitting the fan on the heatsink.
Do you want to take a second to talk about the speed of the RAM and how important that is?
Sure. So this is DDR4 3200. I think these are CL15 modules. I was pricing out some Vengeance 8 gigs, two 4 gig DIMMs. They're about $109. If you went with DDR4 2400, maybe a little bit slower latency, and definitely, I would say budget about $100 to $110. 3200 with Ryzen does help. So again, remember, this is the APU. The graphics are inside the CPU itself. There's no local frame buffer like you would have on a graphics card. So the faster the memory, which is the only graphics memory the CPU APU has, more performance. Oh wait, I even have a chart.
And you were
This is
saying
gonna
like
piss
a
John
10%
off. I'm gonna hold it up just to
performance,
make.
right?
And you were also saying that it's really important to do dual channel configuration with this.
Yes, in fact, it's more important. Let's check this out.
Everyone's favorite printed benchmarks.
Yeah, you know why I print them? Is because you can't count on computers to work. This is why. So I'm going to hold this up.
Oh,
Dan is going to focus in on this.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No.
No, he's
okay,
not.
I'm going to hold
No,
it
he's
up
not.
like this.
There we go. Good enough.
All right, check it out.
Good enough.
You see the top bar, that is 3200. The next bar down is 2633. Then I'm trying to read this backwards. My God, DDR4.
2667 underneath that.
Oh.
Got it.
29. So we have 3200, 2933, 2667, 2400, 2133. I don't even know where the hell people would be getting 2133 these days. It's all 2400. It's pretty
No,
much
it's-
the base.
no, it's still
isn't it?
out there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So-
like the bottom of the barrel.
Well,
Like the worst.
the weird thing is right now is that RAM prices are so across the board everywhere that you can sometimes get 3200 speed RAM for cheaper than 2333 right now. It just depends on like what the
Whoa.
retailer wants to put on sale.
So Elena has the pulse of the retailers. So, but yeah,
really
so
weird.
again, you know, I do see a lot of comments, people saying, oh my God, DDR4 3200 is too expensive. You know, you
all
really should be,
expensive.
it's all expensive, yeah, it's all, well,
Expensive.
back in my day, it was a lot more expensive. But
Talk about more about back in your day, Gordon.
but no, really. So wait. So
it up,
basically,
hold
you're
it up.
saying a 20. You're saying 2400
Here, I'll help
can
you.
be as much as 3200.
It can be, depending
Okay.
on the sales. Like I sometimes, and the price difference right now is like maybe no more than $10 difference, depending.
Okay.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So basically, if you can get 3200 modules, you're going to be up here in performance. It's about what 10 to 15% faster than a base 2400 2133 all the way down here. Again, look for your prices. So I think the impression a lot of people have was like, oh my God, I'm going to be paying $200 for 8 gigs of RAM. That's not necessarily true. You might if it's like some super exotic, high, low latency memory. But
lights.
the main takeaway though is the bottom bar. I want people to know. So
What is it?
remember, this bottom bar is running in single channel mode. This is just Firestrike graphics score. On this particular 2200G, you can see you seriously just screw yourself if you go for single channel RAM,
That's huge.
right? And so it's just
Yep.
not worth it. So
Big
do a
drop.
minimum, at a minimum, do 2400. Definitely do dual channel though. So, the reasons why people might do single channel is they go like, oh, I can only afford one DIMM now, I'll buy one in 6 months.
But you're saying don't even bother.
Well, I mean, just make sure you buy it because you're taking a pretty big hit in graphics performance running it in single channel mode, right?
Also, why did you go with 8 rather than 16, 32, whatever?
Well, I think for that it is cost. What's 16 gigs go for these days?
On sale.
Too much.
On sale, the cheapest you'll see it for is about $165 right now.
Yeah, so spending $165 on this particular build, especially an APU, it seems wrong to spend more on your memory than you are on your CPU. To me, that's generally kind of one of those things that kind of kills me. 16 gigs is nice, but I would definitely think if you're doing a higher end build, 16 gigs is worth it.
Jacob on YouTube says he still has a 2007 E machines with DDR2 RAM.
Oh my gosh! I kind of wonder, like
I had one of those too.
with cars, at some
a
point,
Pentium 4.
even the Gremlin is worth something. So I'm not going to put these on yet. We'll put these on after the board is in, of course. Let's get to the case.
Tech 360 Gamer loves that you're drinking Coors Light. And welcome everybody.
Yeah. Now, what are you guys drinking there?
Two.
Lane is drinking the
Ginger ale.
ginger
I
ale.
asked for ginger beer, but this is
Unfiltered.
good enough.
I mean, it's
It's good stuff.
Do they charge you
Sweet.
less if they don't filter it?
No, they probably charge you more
Yeah,
because
right.
you're in the Bay Area.
They should charge you less.
They should.
You want to filter your coffee? How about some unfiltered coffee? I was like, no. I would want filtered coffee.
Dimmer, my buddy Mike over on Twitch says the next stream we should drink some MD 2020.
Oh my God.
You know, get real
Thunderbird.
fancy. Yeah, right?
That's really a 35th Avenue and School Street gas station drink from the guy who cleaned the lot on the gas station. What am I missing here?
I think this should be good.
It's,
Wait,
something
are
in
you,
the front?
you trying to pull the back off?
yeah, I think it may be the paint.
Oh, wait, Gordon, this one. Right here.
Oh. No, that's just for the PCI.
Okay. Let me take that out of the danger zone.
There we go. Just a little stuck.
Highway to the
I was gonna say
danger
it's
zone.
bent, but it's
No,
got
it's
this
like
weird
it's
divot.
rippled for I think maybe like
Oh, 2 divots.
fans.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
place fans there?
No, those
No?
are just for cooling.
Oh,
So look
weird.
at this. This is nice. This is a Silverstone SG13P. B Bravo is black. P Papa is pink. And you can look at this. They painted the inside. That used to be extra. When we
Man,
used to paint the
that
inside.
is Pepto Pink.
Yeah.
This is real. I don't know if this is coming across the internet.
Awesome.
This is Pepto Pink. Or as they say, rose gold.
Yeah, that's what
So
they say.
inside we get our screws. Now I have not looked in this case. I did all my testing just mounted outside. What are we gonna do here?
If you had this computer and your house was robbed, do you think that they would leave it?
I think they would break in, steal all the valuable stuff, and then maybe put a Hello Kitty sticker on top. And before they leave, they'd be like, "Oh my God." Okay, make sure you put this on. This is called an I/O shield. That is a technical term for it. It is, of course, matched up with the back of your motherboard. Goes in.
I'm sure
Right?
Brad was taking bets to see if you were going to forget.
No, buddy, you know
He's
what?
been
It's
doing pretty
been.
good with them
I have
so
not
far.
forgotten
Yeah,
an
he's got a
I/O
good
shield in
track
years.
record.
Hasn't forgotten one yet so far, at least on camera.
Yeah.
How well is it fitting in there?
Not so great.
I mean, you always got to like get the right angle. I like these new motherboards where you don't even have an I/O shield.
Really?
Yeah,
I've been seeing those.
ASUS started doing it, and some of the other vendors have started to sort of emulate it now. But
I mean, there's still a shield that's just built in.
yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it makes sense. It's just sort of it's integrated into the back of the motherboard. It's like, why in the world do you have to still put on this cheap piece of metal, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just manufacturing. It's cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah. So make sure you got it in. There we go. See. Should I just go? We're just gonna go? Should we?
Yeah, somebody mentioned earlier, I'm sorry I didn't track your name, but somebody said Gordon's really going at this fast. The truth is he has a breakfast waiting for him at his desk,
Yeah,
so he's
yeah.
just real hungry.
No, we could lengthen this out, and people go like, "Why are you taking so long to sit in that room, drink beer, and build a computer at work?" Well, let me think about this now. If your boss said, "Hey, you want to sit in this conference room, build a computer, and drink beer?" How long do you think that job will take? I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours. You're gonna say, or do you want to like do it in 1 hour or 20 minutes and get back to your GPS reports?
Gordon's,
Think about that now.
calling is to be an IT worker.
Oh my God, yes.
So I mean,
For the city of San Francisco, it is a fantasy job of mine.
do you have to put a? Is this mini ITX or?
This is mini
Mini
ITX.
ITX.
Could it fit something bigger? Or are those standoffs for?
No.
No,
No, what are
the
these?
Pretty
stand-
much.
There's only standoffs.
you could
up
probably
here.
mount a hard drive or an
This
SSD
is-
there. It looks like.
Yeah. This is definitely a mini ITX case.
Yeah. So
So, but I mean, you could probably fit, a small form factor graphics card in there too, right?
yeah. So no,
Yeah,
honestly,
it's got
look.
the slots and
I
got
would
what this
room.
is for.
say you probably could do definitely a 1050 Ti even, or some of these small short boards, depending on the power supply that you put in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead. Oops.
Did you get any case fans, or did it come with any?
I did not get any case fans.
Isn't it usually with a small case you got to worry about airflow?
Well, this is not a huge issue. There isn't one in front. You could mount one in front. Again, it's a budget build. We're running an APU. It would be nice to have a little more, but I'm just gonna.
Ready Player One on YouTube says there's not enough room for a pump and reservoir in this case.
Yeah, because of the power supply placement, you're going to be really limited on what kind of cooling you have for the CPU.
I bet you
but
could
there's
do it.
some there's some
Yeah.
low
We could do it.
profile closed loop cores.
We also had a question earlier. I'm sorry, I didn't write down their name, but actually a couple people talking about can you run what is Crossfire if you get an extra AMD card?
No.
With the APU.
Unfortunately, AMD said, you know what? They did that years ago. Where am I little?
Why do you think they got rid of that?
I think they decided, you know what? No one was doing it. We're not going to waste engineering resources. It's for the same reason that SLI and Crossfire have gone away. Multi-GPU support is just a huge engineering resource. I just want to point out, if you are doing your first build, sometimes you have to push the motherboard back towards the back of the case to get the mounts right.
Also, we have a great question from John Malkovich. Hey,
Whoa.
Gordon, I know,
I'm a
right?
huge fan of John Malkovich.
Yeah, the famous John Malkovich is here, and he says, "Hey, Gordon, what happened to the 1920 by 1080 build?"
Oh my God, yeah. I have the replacement CPU. It's sitting in the PC. I haven't even put it in. We should just do it.
Yeah, right.
I'm missing a screw here. What? Am I doing the wrong ones for
Just
these?
use tape.
There you go. Just tape it in. Also, it is me Dev on YouTube says, can we overclock the Ryzen 3 2200G to the Ryzen 5 2400?
You probably can a reasonable level, but remember you're looking at a stock free heatsink that you get in the box. I wouldn't expect miracles, and then sort of like, are you really gonna buy this thing and add a $99 cooler CLC to this? I don't know if that even makes sense, because it's a $99 chip in APU. Where the hell? There is just one more.
Which kind are you looking for?
I'm looking for the
There are multiple
ones
tiny.
that fit a CD-ROM, the really fine pitch machine screw there. Oh, it's right here. Okay. See, there really is. We're almost done.
We really are.
Yeah, we got a couple more comments saying this is going way too quick. They're
Is it too
not done
fast?
with their beer yet.
So, yeah, and I understand. So the thing is, if you are working in IT for the city of San Francisco and your boss is like, I'm doing research, boss, into this new APU, we need to slow it down, because that's the way it works in the city of San Francisco there.
Yeah, we got to slow it down, take a beer break.
I mean, what you should have really done is actually taken off some of these pieces to make it easier for you to get in there with a screwdriver and then put
right.
them back on.
Actually, Elena, how is your ginger ale? Your unfiltered
It's
ginger ale?
really sweet.
Sweet, really?
really
Oh, I
sweet.
thought it was going to be.
It's not as sharp as I was
sharp.
expecting it to be.
Do you want the other one?
Nah,
No? All right.
I got enough sugar in this one already.
All right, so, okay. You can see this. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the USB connector. I hate these things. This thing is like, you could carry this in your pocket and hit a mugger with it, right?
What?
You could
It's
pry
chunky.
open the wooden crates in CSGO with these damn. Look at this thing. This is so stiff. These are the worst things ever, and they've never ever changed them or improved them.
Adam Patrick Murray writes in on Twitch saying, could we put the new Sound Blaster AE5 in here, and then we get some LED lights,
You could actually do it. We got a single, by 8. And actually, that's one thing people should know about the APU. That's a key difference. The SoC does not have by 16 coming out of it. It is actually a by 8 lane. So, but by 8 Gen 3. That's of course people are going to go, oh my God, I need by 16 for my GPU. It's like, well, and the reason for that, AMD is like, look, this is a $99 or $107 CPU. Are you really going to go out and put a Vega 64 water cooled in? It's like, probably not. It just does not make sense.
Ruruchu this says this would make a nice Steam machine. Whatever happened to Steam machines, Gordon?
We've
got one back here, the Alpha R51.
Well, that's not a Steam machine.
Alpha
So
R2, whatever.
let me go ahead and plug in the power here. What?
Are you putting up
No, it
the
wasn't
front
much.
pins right now?
Yeah, so I am right now plugging in my. Do I need to do this so you can see it, Dan?
Yeah.
So it's right here. The header is buried up here. I know this because I have been
What about
shorting
the
it out. with
fancy
a
wiring,
screwdriver.
Gordon? This wiring job, it's really,
So pretty.
it's not your strong suit.
So the question is, so now we're down to hard drive light and power light. which one's negative, which one's positive. You got a 50-50 chance.
He's like,
And here's
I
where
don't-
the build slows down.
It's like, I don't need to look at the manual for the motherboard. I'll just wing it.
Yeah, actually, Brad says y'all think the build is going fast now, but wait until he starts getting the cables in there for the non-modular power supply.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. And Ziv on YouTube says that non-modular PSU is like a tentacle monster.
It really is.
Johnny Walker asks, can you add a graphics card in there later if you want?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, I'll show you. Do we have one? For just
can go grab
physical? You want to grab one, and we can just
I'll be right
sort of show what you can put in this case.
Well, you have one slot, so what do you think is the most important thing, or what would you add to it then?
An A5.
Well, I would, honestly, my thoughts on this build is
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Gordon? Tell me your thoughts.
this is going to make a fantastic 720p, esports quality. I don't know why
so
esports
console,
is.
like console quality,
Well,
720p.
Except that the consoles you can't do anything else but play games on, right? So this to me is like, what's the value of
I mean,
going
what
to internet?
can you really do? on
What
this?
can't you do on a PC? You're not going to do your banking on your Xbox,
No,
right?
you
So
can. It has the Edge browser built right into the Xbox One X.
Oh,
the
yeah.
most powerful console.
Let me just do some transfer, and all your friends are like,
Actually,
hang on, let's just stop playing Call of Duty. I got to transfer some money right now.
You could do your TurboTax. You can definitely do plenty of things on a console, Gordon.
Yeah.
Have you tried? PS3 used to be able to dual boot Linux. Remember?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what everybody's going to do. So this, of course, this is the front panel audio connector. I don't know where it is. Usually it's in back down here. I'm going to guess, yeah, it looks like it's there. So I'm going to plug this in. This cable connects there, and what it does is gives you connections for your speaker and microphone and lots of interference. Oh, wow. You want to
Here
try
she is.
I
that?
couldn't
Here she
find
is.
any of our shorter cards. I
Well-
think we sent back the 1050 to Brad.
Oh yeah, we sent one back to Brad.
Yeah, that was the little
Really?
one.
Well, we've got a 460 back there.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, hanging on the wall.
Wow.
Oh, 460. I thought when you meant 460, I thought you meant really? We have an RX 460, which
No, he means GTX
yeah,
460.
GTX 460, which is old school. We're just doing this for size to see if it fits.
Also, Rusty
Right back.
says everyone spam console to trigger Gordon.
There's nothing wrong with console players or gaming as long as they recognize that it is console players and gaming.
Yeah, but I mean, what you're essentially telling us, though, with all these fancy charts, is that you're going to get graphical performance on the level of console games. I mean, if you're recommending that people play it at a 1080p, and you might get between 30 and 60 frames, you're talking about 360 PS3 level graphics.
I think you're doing it wrong. This build, I mean, I gotta say, a lot of the. Oh my God!
Whoa, classic!
Look at this.
Nice. We got a VGA on there.
Home Shopping Network, only 3 left. What is it? G4 6 Series. I don't know what it is.
I tried finding the model number, but I can't. Is it right here? Wait, hold on. I think your finger's right on it. It says NVIDIA Corporation Model P260. I don't know.
Nice.
That actually is the-
Classic. Well, that'll fit.
I'm guessing what, a 670? I don't know. I just can't remember. Actually, it's funny because talking about old school, I was going to bring in a
Here we go.
GTX 9800. Oh, an 8800
Yeah,
GT.
8800 right there.
This is like classic computing day. I should
Classic.
run. So the performance of this is well beyond this 8800 GT. In fact, it's actually the performance is probably on par in Crisis of all things with a 9800 GTX. Oh, well, let's just see what fits. So this is what,
An
480?
RX 480.
Oops, let me pull these out. So we are not actually putting a 480 in here because we are going to pretend like it's everybody else and you can't get them, like video cards. We just want to see what you can get.
Oh yeah, that fits.
So a reference
Yeah, but-
480, which is basically the same as a reference.
Does it?
580 is gonna
But
go in there.
this is by 16 though, right? I mean,
Doesn't matter though. So if you put a by 16 GPU into a by 8 slot,
What's gonna
it
happen?
just runs up by 8. It's just fewer lanes used.
How
it's
much
fine.
slower is that?
All practical tests have shown it to be minimal. You'd be hard pressed to actually see the difference.
Wow.
I mean, again, remember we're running external graphics over Thunderbolt 3, which is a by 4 Gen 3, right? So you're talking about getting by 8 Gen 3. It ain't no problem, folks. Again, you're not putting a $1,200 video card in. You're not putting a Titan Volta into with your $99 APU. You're going to be okay. So it'll take even.
Nice.
That's
All
not
right.
bad.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
this
bad,
box-
but it really shows, though. I don't know if Dan got in with the tighter shot.
Oh, you want to put it back in?
Well, just because I just wanted to show people that if you decided to get a card with the triple cooler or triple fan cooling system and it's all chunky, I don't think it's gonna fit in there.
You've got about an inch on the back end. Is that what it is?
How about the front end for the fans? How much space is there? If there were fans.
If there were fans, let's just give you an idea of size.
Yeah.
So this is a reference 480, which is basically the same as a reference 580. Definitely
I think tilt it this way so they
tilt it this way.
No, the other way, so they can see from the top view.
So you can
basically.
see top
the other
view.
way.
Yeah. This.
Which is the other way.
This way, like that.
Well, because he needs to be able to see. It's actually.
You guys would be really good on road
Boom,
trips.
look at
Why
that.
don't you go the other way? So you can see it is pretty tight, but
Yeah.
your fan is going to go right here. So you could mount, a
Yeah.
fan right in front, get a little more airflow. So it's tight. The thing is, we haven't put the power supply in here yet because
Yeah.
it's you get a lot of space without the power. Once you put in that power supply, you're just going to eat up a ton of space.
Where do you hide all your cables, Gordon?
Inside. I just.
Inside.
You notice there's no window on here because you know what? You're not going to really be tidying it up. You could do it. Some people are going to do it.
You gotta cut them and trim them.
Idle7 over on Twitch is asking, can this run Kingdom Come Deliverance? I'm gonna say probably not.
I have not. Is that a new game?
Yeah, Hayden and I played it. A video just went up this morning on YouTube of us playing it on the Omen X over there. Which
How was it?
It was fine. I mean, if you like Skyrim and those kind of open world,
Open
Yeah.
world.
kind of games. I mean, it's an independent developer. I think it was funded on Kickstarter. It was a little rougher around the edges, but I think if you're looking for that, I think people might enjoy that. But this box is definitely not going to be able to run that. I can't imagine it handling an open world game like that.
I think you'd be well. Again, and it's really interesting because reading a lot of the reviews, I read them afterwards because reviewers we don't have access to each other's numbers. I read the reviews of the Ryzen 3, the Ryzen APUs after everybody else's ran, and I gotta say, the results were interesting because I think some of the reviews, you sort of get the feeling that, oh my God, this thing isn't that fast at all. Like, I don't know what people were expecting. I think if they were expecting 1080p, everything, medium to high, seriously, it's a $99 APU or $170. I think those expectations were too high based on, a lot of the reviewers, all of their numbers in fact were run at 1080p. When I did my test, I said, you know what, this thing is not a 1080p part. I'm going to do the bulk of my test at 720p, 1280, 720. It is a really fine chip for 720p gaming.
Well, and Rusty over on YouTube says, I think the real question to ask here is, can it run Crysis?
Yes. And
The answer is
if I
yes.
would just shut my flap, we could run Crysis. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in. Everything else is plugged in. We need to mount the power supply.
Wait, question for you.
Right.
Where are you going to put that hard drive?
I'm thinking I'm going to mount the SSD here. And
So-
I think the hard drive basically goes right here. Gets inverted on the top.
So you're going to use a dual setup for storage? You're going to use that for your actual storage, or like
So right here is where
primary
you would mount.
storage, and this is going to be your boot drive, or what?
Wow, that is no
Yeah,
fun.
it's
getting to this.
240 gigs, I think.
That's a weird mount for a hard drive.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you mount, well, you can still look. You can still sort of clear that fan.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
so the
if you have
fan
a
actually
there.
goes behind here, I think.
Oh, there's room
actually
for a
room.
Then you'd have to get low profile. I think you're going to mount it here.
Well, somebody was saying Noctua makes some pretty good low-profile fans.
Yeah, but I think. Let's see. Is it?
I think maybe what might be easier, Gordon, is to take this panel off if it comes off.
Yeah, that's the thing to do.
Because the other thing too is that you have to figure out where you're going to put the SSD if you're actually going to use it.
Well, the SSD is going to go here in the bottom.
Right, so you probably want to put that before you put the power supply
Are
in.
those screws or are those rivets?
These are screws on top. Let's pull the hard drive tray out of here. In fact, maybe we'll just mount it on top. Okay, you know what? We'll just add an extra step because we ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Also,
I don't wanna go back
a
to work.
question from Bug Lovers. Do you think you can run Minecraft?
Oh yeah, definitely.
This would be a great Minecraft box, I think,
yeah.
right?
Minecraft.
It's already
well,
Yeah.
although you got to remember, there are some mods for Minecraft that are insane. Shader mods that are just crazy. But yeah, for Minecraft, this is an excellent Minecraft box. You could definitely run 1080p easily in Minecraft without all the crazy mods. Remember, so the performance you're getting out of this is, 2x to 2.5x what you're getting out of an Intel HD 630. And you know what? A lot of people play Minecraft on Intel integrated graphics. So
Nice. Brad Charkis, our own Brad Charkis, says that
that's weird.
SSD mounting tray comes off, and that's what you were doing. So
Yep.
yeah.
yeah, and I guess you could probably mount it. So the question is, how the hell are we going to mount this? There's a screw. Where are we going to mount this? Where the hell do you mount the 3.5-inch drive?
It looks like you got a crooked kind of
Well, what if you put the SSD on the top and the hard disk on the bottom?
Yeah, it's not going to clear. I wonder if this case is actually designed for only 2.5-inch drives instead of 3.5.
Does it go sideways?
I would think it would go this way, but then you're going to have.
May I interject and suggest that we look at the manual?
Oh.
I don't know where the manual is.
What?
In the box,
In the
perhaps?
motherboard box?
There we go. Look. See?
Okay, that works. M1 on YouTube asks, is this a good mining rig?
I didn't do any hash tests, but Nate over at Legit Reviews did do some hash tests. Go check it out, legitreviews.com. I think he got decent mining results out of it, which will be interesting to see if people start buying the $99. But you know what? I mean, so if you put the $99, but see, I don't know if it's worth it because for a miner, you also have to add in cost of RAM. You have to do a full build. Whereas you can service, 8 video cards with a single mining box. It's 1 APU per build, per motherboard, per set of DIMMs. So I don't know if is that really going to be a thing? I hope it isn't. For people who want to buy these.
Bugs Lover says it's going to touch the PCB that way. Is it?
Yeah, it's a hard drive.
Yeah, we literally found this just sitting in the corner somewhere, right?
Yeah.
We've got 20 of them sitting around. Just throw in a new one.
When the benchmark results are delayed, we'll all know why.
Yep.
Well,
It'll go right behind the 1920 by 1080 build.
yeah, I got to say the mounting for the drives is a little funky. I mean, clearly you'd put your SSD on top, right? You can do that as well if you wanted to. If you were to mount it like the bottom side of this. But if you did want a hard
I
drive,
think you have clearance for that, though, because this sits like right on top.
no, I mean if you had it like this. So if this were not, if you didn't have a hard drive build, or the thing to do is you do your SSD and then do a 2.5-inch hard drive and then mount them side by side.
Yeah.
That's probably the way to do it. I think they'd probably go like, you know what, people don't care. It's not like there's a performance difference between a desktop drive and a laptop. I mean, there is a huge difference that nobody gives a damn about, right? Desktop drives are a lot faster than a laptop hard drive, but who cares? I mean, it's
When
just
they're
like,
all slow.
yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't get an F like you. I got a D minus. Yeah, okay, that doesn't matter. It's still a failure, right? It just doesn't.
Plus, no one would probably be buying an actual hard drive for this. They would just be using whatever they found at their house, probably, right?
Bastille says on Twitch you don't have any double-sided tape on hand. You can just tape it.
I don't actually have it on hand. What I would typically do is just put it in there and just leave it. Because most desktops don't go
No,
anywhere.
you don't say.
Do I have any? God, where would you mount them?
Also,
Do you have any grommets or anything?
Well, I'm just kind of like, which screws did you use? Because actually, it'll clear. I was kind of afraid. I was afraid these machine screws would stick out too much.
Moxel on Twitch says, Gordon, you have really rough hands. Do you do carpentry as a hobby?
No, I just am bad. It's from washing the dishes. Actually, my wife doesn't even let me wash dishes anymore. She says I waste too much water.
Oh, you can't waste water, man. We're in a drought, right?
Should we create like an Amazon wish list for Gordon and put a bunch of lotion in there?
You know, I was just thinking back when I worked in a gas station. I don't.
Go on.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a really good start to a good story.
No, really. So, like, back when you worked at the gas station,
Back when you
I'm
were
going to see if this works.
at the gas station.
I don't know if this is the correct screw, but I kind of want to use something that is very low profile. No, so we've been. So anybody, I don't even know if these are like the EPA's banned them or not, but anybody who's worked in an auto environment, remember the parts washer? Remember you guys?
No.
So
none of
every
us
gas
worked at the
station.
gas station.
No, you did. Oh. So back.
Back in my day when I worked at a gas station.
No, so you would have it was called a parts washer, and I don't know what the special stuff was. It was some kind of
Wait, what kind of parts are you washing?
It was some kind of industrial degreasing stuff,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
right?
Makes sense.
Man, I don't know if this is gonna fit. This is
Ruru2 says it's an SSD. Just let it hang loose.
really. That's
Gordon's way.
all right. You know, actually,
That didn't take too much convincing.
He says, all right.
Yeah,
you know?
well, you got that 3 on tape right there.
Yeah. Just tape it in, man.
it just seems like then I don't want to have someone to go, oh, it's great, and this. And I would say normally I'd be fine with that, but this is a small form factor build, you know. So you might pick this up and go somewhere.
Yeah, Clay
Oh,
even
yeah.
says it's all fuss about tidy builds. If it fits in the case and you can close it, it's all good.
Elena has something to show you.
What?
Does
Different
this
screw?
actually go to the bottom of the case at all? For, to seat the,
Hard drive.
Oh, those look like screws for.
Like a spacer, right?
Are there
Yeah.
spacers for hard drive?
Yeah,
So
probably
it don't
if you're
rattle?
mounting a hard drive, if you really care about the hard drive
oh, I didn't realize your hand.
making excessive noise, you know.
Probably for the spinning.
What?
You're probably mounted for the spinning drive only, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you want to dampen the
Yeah, I was
mechanical
gonna
noise. But, you know, it's
Too late.
too late. I'm not going to take it out and put it back in for that. Oh, but you know what I'm kind of concerned about? So I got the drive mounted. Okay, we'll go all the way here.
One
Because
more screw to go.
you didn't do it right. You left a screw out. That SSD might rattle out under a 5G situation.
You just say you're gonna take it with you places.
I got a good question from the Jodu on YouTube. He says, I wonder how you would update an old B350 UEFI for the 2200G when you don't have a spare Ryzen 1 processor at hand.
Yeah, that is a classic problem. How do you update it?
Classic.
Some boards have what's called a feature called BIOS back. Check your board. You know, where you basically, I mean, today's motherboards, you can post them without RAM and without a CPU and update the BIOS. Some of them, so you can update the BIOS without any parts installed. That's usually a higher end feature. So I kind of wonder if you're just screwed. Like you, and then
Real talk.
Real talk, you're screwed,
Real
throw it
talk.
away.
At CES, I swear to God, I think it was said like by somebody at AMD. It was like, well, maybe you could borrow a CPU from somebody.
Yes.
Hey, what are you doing on Tuesday? No, nothing. What's going on? Can you take your machine apart, take the CPU out, bring it to my house so we can update the BIOS? Now, if your friend says, yeah, sure, that is a good friend to have. That is a good friend. I will take my entire machine apart just so you can update your BIOS.
Jeffrey says Micro Center will update it for $15.
Oh, that's a good one.
There we go.
If only we actually lived near Micro Center.
Yeah, but all Micro Center people, that's all they do is make us feel bad.
I know,
Oh
right?
man.
Oh my God, do you see how much they're selling the Ryzen for? It's like $12. It's like, what? You got to go there to buy it though. Okay, last step, right? Last step is the power supply. So this case takes a classic standard.
Oh,
this is
classic.
a CX500, the
Classic.
big old standard, big size
wait.
standard ATX box.
That looks like a nice one.
Yes, this is like $50 though. I was looking, $50, not on sale.
And non-modular either.
Elena is always like, not on sale. 500 watts. Is 500 watts a little kind of overkill for this thing?
Well, this is 300.
A little bit.
So this
If
is a
you're-
Silverstone,
Oh,
It's a
okay.
baby
Much
one.
cuter.
right? So this is an SFX power supply.
Where's the? Oh, there it is. Okay.
So you get an adapter so you can use it in a standard ATX.
Can you show them side by side? Look at the size difference.
Yeah, so look at the
Here,
difference. SFX,
I'll hold this one.
ATX, SFX.
It's like half the size.
Half the size. You're paying a little. You're definitely paying more to get a smaller power supply for SFX. I think
So
this-
cute.
Silverstone, Corsair both make great power supplies. That I think the price is on the box. What's it? $40 bucks.
42.
$42 is what I
42.
wrote. So I found it for $42. The
But-
CX500 I think I found for $50.
But you are limited on the PCIe.
Yeah, so you're only gonna get a single 6-pin out for power. So yeah, if you're gonna put your Titan Volta in, you're gonna have a problem, and it won't fit in the case anyway.
You just leave it outside.
So I think it's one of those things where I wouldn't worry about it too much. Clearly, I think it's very much, you sort of apply the Elena rule. Well, what's on sale?
No.
Apply the Elena rule.
There's
Do the Elena.
there's a corollary to that rule, which is if you're going to use a non-modular power supply, you may actually want to leave yourself some room for that Medusa's tangle of cables,
this.
which you do get with the small form factor power supply.
Well, and actually, you have a couple people wincing at the fact that you don't have a non-modular power supply. Like,
It's just-
yep.
I think you're just gonna take someone's eye out.
This is the way it used to be, folks.
Yeah, Antonios 2142 on Twitch is really scoffing his nose at you, Gordon.
Have you put a poll on that?
Everybody-
we should do a poll.
on
We
how
should-
many people are
yeah.
scoffing at Gordon, or
Modular versus
Let's see if I can. I don't think I can.
Every
pull it
single
here,
person that is scoffing at the non-modular power supply, they need to laugh and then put this on their calendar. February 13, 20,
23?
2020, 21. Oh my
but-
God.
2021.
Where's this going?
Did you check this out? I just got this brand new Radeon GeForce card. It's such a killer deal, dude. Oh my God. Let me just look for my other PCIe. Where would I do the cables?
I know where my cables are for my
Honey or Mom, what'd you do with my cables? Oh, I threw that junk out.
So I have a question. How long do power
Where my cables
supplies
are, Gordon.
last? Like, is that the most easily reusable part that you can reuse on a computer?
Yeah, generally power supplies, as far as like how long they're gonna, they'll if you buy a good quality power supply, it'll usually last. You'll get, you'll get years and years and years of service out of it. So of course the problem is, if you're looking for good power supply reviews, I recommend Johnny Guru. They know their stuff over there. Probably one of the few outfits that are really looking hard at PC power supplies. But the old rule of thumb was you just simply of course, you can't do it in the store anymore. If it's heavier, that generally means they put more heat sinks in it, they put more components into it. So generally weight, which is, I know, a horrible way to sort of judge, a heavier power supply is going to be better than a light one. So this is the Corsair 6500, not exactly super expensive, but if I went out and got the no-name power supply that I got for free when I bought my case, and I weighed both of them, if I cut the cables off and I weighed them, there'd be a significant
And yet
weight difference.
And yet he still advocates for getting the case with
Yeah,
the
because
nuclear
it's
power
an
supply.
ends to a mean. I've had power supply smoke. I've never had them take components. I have read people where they say, yeah, it blew up and it blew up my motherboard, and which does suck. I gotta say, yeah, that
does
sucks.
suck.
But generally, you're gonna be okay.
Not ideal.
You do have a fan over on Facebook. Raphael says, you can still keep it clean with a non-modular power supply.
Yeah, you can do it. They used to do it in the old days.
You can do it. Also, George on Facebook says that Coors Light, though.
I think what we should
I did
do
not ask
is
for Coors Light. I asked for Bud.
we should get a long sleeve shirt for Gordon and sew on extra sleeves so that when in 2021 when Gordon has extra arms, he'll be prepared for that. Why not, right? You never know, right,
Yeah.
Gordon?
So the other metric is, one is weight on power supply. Number two, warranty. If you go out and you buy a power supply, it used to be in the industry, 3 years was a good power supply warranty. 3 years. I mean, like everybody's got like 5-year warranties now, and some of them have like 7 and 10-year warranties.
Yeah, they're really expensive ones.
If the company is going to stand behind their power supply for 10 years, it's going to be a good power supply because they know they have to supply it. There's actually a lot of, in the US, there's a lot of laws regulating warranties and how those are fulfilled. Of course, you're paying for that warranty, in the extra cost of it. So definitely longer warranty is better, but only from a company that is still around. You can get a lifetime power supply, lifetime warranties power supply, and find out that, hey, I can't reach this company and your warranty's no good. So.
Moxel over on Twitch says he's been transferring the same power supply to different systems for like 8+ years.
Nice.
So, also Antonios 2142 on Twitch says he's a big fan of you, Gordon, and it's good to see you doing more videos and casts.
It's good that you will get your $5 later for making the nice comment. I'm just kidding.
There we go. Yeah, use a plant.
Have we slowed this down enough now? We really like.
Well, no one's asking for the crisis benchmarks quite yet, so don't worry.
Oh, I see how this is done. Interesting. We mount. Huh. Okay. So you use your standard full-size screws on here,
Oh, to get the adapter.
and then you use the smaller screws to mount the adapter to the case, and you use one of them like there. Let's see. Is that right? What else do we need to talk about?
So you're actually going to use the small form factor?
Yeah,
one?
I'm going to use it. I kind of like the idea because you just get a lot more space, right? You put those big power supplies in there, and then you're sort of like.
Wait! You're saying that when you use a full-size power supply with all the cables attached, in a case this size, you might not have enough room?
If you use modular power supplies, all you do, you use every single stupid screw, so you're not really saving anything anyway. I don't understand this whole modular thing.
Those screws take up so much space, Gordon.
Yeah. Also, Brad thinks it's really funny that you're talking about buying quality power supplies.
I recommend you buy a power supply, but you know what?
Quality power supply.
Hey, Adam, or Elena, or Dan, hey, would you rather have a 1050 Ti or 1066 gig? Oh, hell, give me the 1066 gig. If you do that, you got to use the no-name Gordon power supply. I don't care. It's got a lifetime warranty, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Sure.
Yeah, but does the warranty extend to my motherboard and my CPU when that thing decides to take a dump?
We got a couple people, including Brad, who are taking some bets on whether you're going to do something that you need to do, that you might not do.
Don't even tell them. Don't even give them that hint.
What's
I'm
that?
giving them a hint. I'm not going to
Plugging
say.
the power supply in?
I think it's drinking that beer. You gotta have some more.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I can get you another one. You need a new Coors Light?
So I actually mounted, I thought about this. I mounted it, because most power supplies suck air in, blow it out. I mounted it over the fan. We're going to suck air in, hopefully, blow it out. Also, I can now read my power supply label. You know how important that is.
Oh.
I don't think I have the correct screws here, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Ziv on YouTube says, is that a 0 RPM model
On what?
for the power supply?
This is...
Is it fanless? No?
Oh, no, it's got a fan.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think, you know what? The whole fanless power supply thing, it's over. I don't know where you can even get fanless power supplies anymore.
Is it that they don't work or what?
It's just because I think everybody decided it wasn't worth it. Because back in the day, like, oh my God, it was awesome to get a fanless power supply. But you think about it, it's one great big gigantic heat sink, and you just can't control the thermals. Like if it's a 90-degree day, I mean, your machine is just cooking. That said, I think most power supplies these days, I don't think the CX500 is one of them. A lot of the more advanced power supplies, they are basically fanless.
Yeah, they only run
because the fans never run in them. They never run unless you put a heavy load on them and it's a hot day.
Yep.
And that's just to save you and itself. But most of the time, these things never run.
nice.
Also,
That's nice clearance you
Ziv
got
on
with
YouTube made a funny caught your comment saying, I recommend you buy a power supply. I'll have to go back and watch the tape.
Someone has to make that into a meme.
Yeah. No, check it out. So again, if I use a full-size power supply instead of this SFX, can we see this, Dan?
Yeah, I'm
Look.
just thinking about the quote.
You can get all that space in there.
So then you get a little more room if you want to use a different air cooler or closed loop cooler.
Yeah, so it's definitely nice to have that space. It is an advantage of, and frankly, you're not going to be putting a crap load of hardware
Wait,
here.
Gordon, what's this? What's this? There's space right here for you to put your cables.
Yeah, what? Cables? I don't understand.
Allosaurus87 says, what's that graphics card? Is that a GTS 450?
That is a GT 8800. 8800 GT.
Yeah, nice.
This was
Back
like
when they had the GT in the end, not the beginning.
I was at the launch meeting and Jensen came out and talked about the 8800 GT and he was just so excited because up till then the GeForce 4 there was some cheap GeForce 4 was it? God, I can't remember the model number. That was just like a stunning. It was I think it was a GeForce T. It was one of the first TI models, 750 Ti or something. It just like sold hotcakes. And then this, of course, you got to remember in the day when this came out, it was 8800 GTX for $650. That could barely run Crysis. And then this thing came out and basically wasn't that much slower than an 8800 GTX for was like $250. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, at the time, it was like. So of course, the modern equivalent of the 8800 GT is probably like a 1060 now these days.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like that's what it's grown into because, I mean, it's just sort of like it was everybody's performance card. You still could get budget, graphics cards, but the 8800 GT.
How much RAM was in there?
I think this had 512. It had at the time 512 meg frame buffer. And I don't remember, maybe a 256-bit memory bus. I don't remember. It was like very much like it was like NVIDIA giving you, and NVIDIA doesn't like to give you things, right? Like an 8800 GT in performance. So it was like they just sold that thing by the container full, right? So.
We have Moxel over on Twitch saying he's dreaming of building for now and enjoying watching us as we get to build. Kind of satisfy his.
Yeah, I gotta say though.
gear lust.
But again, where's my parts list here? I had Catherine print that out for me.
Yeah, it's
Oh, right here.
get there.
We should talk about some of the cost comparisons. Elaine is awesome at this.
Elena's great at
Yes.
Adding the prices and parts up.
Why don't you Elena it, Elena?
Oh, well, So are we talking about the CPU specifically, or just the different potential builds you can put together?
Let's
Well-
get the CPU first.
So
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
so the first one on here. So this we looked at. This is the 2200G, and if you not this particular build because you are paying a premium for Mini ITX, and the SFX power supply. Building smaller things cost more. This is about $600, I think. And the SSD I use is pretty pricey. But if you use just a standard cheap, TLC SSD, $40 PSU, $99 in RAM, and get this for all you, questionable Brad Charkis OS sites.
Oh.
I budgeted $99 for the OS. And you could basically build this very same box with a $60 motherboard, just a cheap budget AMD board, for $505.
$550 because you didn't include the price of the hard disk drive in there.
Yeah, so if you do a hard drive, $550.
Just saying, I'm here for pricing.
Without it, you can do,
Everyone's wondering what a GT and GTX stand for. Somebody says Game Time Extreme. Do you know?
I think so. A lot of it's sort of like speed, and these are old sort of race car things like GT, right? You all know what a GT race
Gran
car
Torino,
is.
is that what it is?
Right, and then of course a lot is like Gran Turismo. What is that?
That's
Or is it touring?
that's a console
Gran
game.
Touring.
Gran
Touring
Touring, that's what
class.
it is, that's what
And
it
I
is.
think they just added the X at some point. I'm not sure why, but they just needed to add.
Because everything
X is always
that's
a good
cool
letter
has
to
an
add.
X.
Yeah.
That's true.
Also, Ziv says poor Elena has to flip through massive charts. All these charts. Like Gordon really did print out a lot of
A lot of them. Hey, but you
charts
know what's
here.
crazy,
Look at all
though?
these charts. And also build
Oh, wait,
guides
here's
and-
another thing. Look, check this out. Nobody ever called this out. What's the model number of this card?
You said 8800 GT?
What is the model number of a 1060?
GTX 1060? Oh, why did they flip it?
Why is GTX now in front of it, whereas it used to be after it?
And Brad Charkis says he paid $99 for this lousy Windows 10 license, and all he got was
Ads?
Candy Crush bloatware.
Just say ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Brad one. I'm gonna go. I was gonna go buy one of those Brad Tarkus $15 OS specials,
Real
but you
quick.
know, I was afraid I was gonna get stabbed when I went to go buy it. So
Stabbed through your browser?
He's saying Walmart.
hey, you know what? I would rather get stabbed than have somebody like, oh my God, I went to go buy it here and they stole all my information. That's like worse.
We have John Malkovich, the famous John Malkovich on Twitter. He has a really good way to describe the way, Elena, you kind of go over prices and deals. You Elena-lize it,
Yeah. Oh, very good.
right? You know,
That's
it's kind of
good,
like you
yeah.
Analyze it. It's Elena-lize
I
it.
like that.
Yeah.
She could be the Elena Lizer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, I mean really. So we're looking at $505 with $100 for the OS. If you did the Brad deal, $415, right? For 720p gaming. Not this particular build, but you know, micro ATX and a cheap $50, $40 case. You could really do this for about $350 to $400. It feels like, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you get parts on sale and you're really good about filling mail-in rebates and all that.
Yeah.
Well, and then Noel over on Facebook says it kind of makes you realize that a lot of games could possibly be ported to the Switch. I mean, 720p is the target resolution for this, so it can't be that bad over on the Switch, right?
Okay, I'm gonna stay clear of
Wait,
this
what?
one.
The Nintendo Switch, targets 720p gaming in the handheld mode. You know, you're saying this is as strong as a Nintendo Switch?
I think it's sort of, you got to remember you're looking at it at a different. Even though it's the same resolution, it is not the same.
Uh-huh.
Right? We all know this.
It's not? Well, I just watched a Digital Foundry video that said that the new Bayonetta is running at 60 frames a second. So 720p 60, this sounds, just
What?
like...
What is a Bayonetta?
What is a Bayonetta?
What is a Bayonetta? It's a video game.
That's actually a really good question on an existential level.
What is a Bayonetta? Yep.
Is that what goes in the end of a rifle? I'm not.
Yes.
All right.
But with more hair. A lot more hair.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we're done. I don't care about the wiring.
We're
About that
done.
later. But let me screw this in.
Let's get to it.
No, but so seriously, I do think, the trolling aside, you're looking at solid 720p gaming, and I think that's what people need to understand what you're getting out of the ZPUs. You're not really getting 1080p unless it's an older game. I actually tried Counter-Strike on here. I ran Counter-Strike Source, or not Source, but Geo on it with that benchmark that's in the marketplace. Of course, it's different. Smoke particles, which killed everything. I would see 20 frames a second at 1080p on high. And then in general areas, 200 to 100 frames a second to 70 frames a second. And, CSGO is not exactly a tough game, though. You can play that on your Bayonetta, whatever it is, practically.
You
Right?
play that on your
Is that
Bayonetta.
true? Can you play it on the Bayonetta?
Yeah.
On the Bayonetta. It's like the Cyber.
The Bayonetta.
Oh boy.
Watch out. The Bayonetta.
Oh, right. I'll put on the Wi-Fi antennas, right?
Maybe you should name this PC the Bayonetta.
The Bayonetta. What is the Bayonetta? So no, I mean, you got to realize, I do think we look at resolution, it's not exactly the same. There are image quality differences. There are things that it's not just about frame rate, it's not just about resolution. There are other qualities to it as well.
I feel like this is actually a good point to kind of talk about the purpose of this machine. Because, we started the whole session saying, GPU crisis, what are you going to do? And I feel like there's two schools of thought with this. We've seen some people say that, oh, well, why would you build a machine like this when you can just, pay, an extra $150 for, was it 1050? Not even TI, just 1050,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And pair that with a slightly better
Are you feeding
CPU,
the signal in?
and then just game on that, as opposed to building something like this. I feel like if you're gonna build something like this, it's because you're either in it for actual, just more, not necessarily graphically intense games, or you're waiting out the GPU crisis.
Right.
You're just like, okay, well, I have to build something now, or I can't wait anymore. My system is just on its last legs, whatever.
Right.
So I'll put this together, I'll wait. The interesting thing that I found yesterday while I was chatting with you was the fact that some of the advice we were seeing about, you know, pairing a different CPU, Ryzen CPU, with an actual discrete graphics card was they were advocating to go with CPUs that weren't as good in some ways as
Right.
these APUs.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yeah, there was a lot of. I think people had expectations that were above what you ever could have expected from an APU. Now, a lot of my comparisons were versus an RX 550, which is in today's prices $110 GPU, right? It's a decent 720p, you know, 1080 esports on medium to low, right? It's not a super fast card, but it's $110. A lot of people, again, like they were saying, oh, you could just do a 1050. My God, 1050s are like $150 to $160.
Yeah.
And then TIs are, I should have printed it out. I couldn't
have
print it out in there. Yeah, but it's on the other one. I think,
Oh.
oh yeah, it's a 1050.
Here.
A 1050 Ti
You have the chart.
is
Gigantic.
$240. So if you did this APU with a 1050 Ti, you'd be looking at $745. I don't know if that makes sense. I do think if you're going to do a 1050 Ti, there's other choices. There's other parts higher up in the Ryzen stack, and even some Intel parts. If you're going to go discrete, then go discrete. But I do think there are people with real budgets where, I mean, really all they can do is, you know, this, again, not this one because of Mini ITX adds about $100 premium, but you can build the entire machine with $99. I priced it out using prices on Amazon. It was $505. So 8 gigs of RAM, 240 gig SSD, you know, cheapo PSU, whatever, but,
And you're getting way more performance than you would if you went with an Intel part.
right.
Well, real quick though, Raphael on Facebook says you guys still have not mentioned the driver issue with this APU paired with an. Have any driver issues?
I do not, because honestly, I did not get a chance to try it with NVIDIA card. I gotta say, we're talking about early launch part. I don't think it's gonna be a show-stopping thing. It'll be interesting. You know, of course, I'm surprised people aren't just saying, oh, it's NVIDIA messing with AMD. Oh, I need a
I've got a mouse for you.
No, he needs a.
Oh, you need
Yeah.
a keyboard.
So I have a question. We always think of build as building a whole new computer. Do you guys have any thoughts on slowly upgrading over time versus always kind of building everything all at once? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, most people, I mean, you sort of, there's two builds. One is you start from nothing, scratch. You have your friend who has their Bayonetta and they want to get into PC gaming. They got to start from somewhere, right? So-
Actually, Rusty on YouTube says Doom plays really well on the Bayonetta.
What is the Bayonetta? Is that a new console?
It's a game. It's a game.
Wait, what?
Bayonetta is a game.
Is it really like?
Console game. We have those
It's
that
just a
are
video
only
game.
on console, Gordon.
like-
What do you
all the
do?
things.
Do you want? Is it like an entire game built around World War I bayonets? Because that's all it's about.
There's nothing to do with
Oh.
That would be a good game. That
It's
would
a
be
it's
good
a
game.
Japanese game. Let's just put it that
it's
No,
way.
nothing
a
with
really,
bayonets.
It's a really fast-paced action platform.
Nothing with bayonets. Okay, I'm gonna cross my fingers because you got to do
Oh,
that.
is it gonna post? Dan, you gotta.
Oh, should I turn it off?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it again. We'll do it sideways.
All right. Yep. We're on it. We're on it. We're gonna
Right,
watch
here,
it.
I'll
Here we
turn it
go.
Moment of truth.
Power on.
Is it gonna post?
Push the button. Look, I got the power switch right.
Got the power switch right. I see some lights
Oh, wait.
lighting up.
See the
Something
fan?
blinking.
Did I get the front? I don't even know where the LEDs are on this thing.
I hear some fans.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to try to boot to the hard drive.
Oh, the screen is responding. There we go.
Whoa!
Woohoo!
All right, so
Yay! We're in. I'll take it. We did it.
So how many people lost the bet?
Woohoo!
were
I don't
there
think
bets?
anyone was betting.
wait, what?
There was a thing that Gordon was going to forget.
Yeah, everyone was too busy talking about the Bayonetta.
Okay, so this is DDR4 3200, CL16 for the XMP, but let's just, wait, where the hell's the advance? Oh, God, starting off in this.
You know, overclock it. What's XAMP? Or
It's the
AX?
XMP profile.
AXMP, sorry.
What is that? All right, so we'll just run it at 2933, CL16. Oh, wait, where's my boot? Yeah, see, was going to, of course, boot to the hard drive.
There you go. Boom. And you should also mention that, yeah, this hard drive you've been testing this
The
whole setup
SSD,
on, so.
the OS is already installed on this. This is the test SSD I was doing everything on.
It's cooling the. It's fanless. It's fanless.
Don't look, Brad. Don't look.
Maybe if we can get a Coors sponsorship and make like a crazy rig that actually uses a keg of Coors to cool the CPU.
Oh, they did not like that.
Uh-oh. What's going on here? It's not responding.
Yeah, damn.
Everyone thought it was alive.
It was, but I tried to
changed the
fire it
boot
up to 2933.
You know, we should probably swap it out with the Bayonetta. The Bayonetta in the PCIe lane right there.
So it's a game all about bayonets.
Ruber2 says, did you have to update the BIOS?
This actually is running. Oh my God! So we got. I think we started off with PT12 or PT13. By the end of the week, we're up to PT15. So there was multiple BIOSes pushed out for the boards. I had some weird issues with. This is not the memory I tested it with. I actually tested it with some G.Skill 3200 CL14 modules. I had some problems running those. The 2400G, I had problems running it. Yeah, see, it's just choking on that the XMP.
It doesn't like your solid state.
No,
it's the RAM.
It's the RAM. I should have. The classic thing is you change 4 things at once. Which one is it? One of 4 things went wrong.
Antonio says that you can change the amount of dedicated VRAM in the BIOS.
Yes, you can.
Have you done that? Is that what you were loading, or?
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is how I can reset the CMOS in this thing. So this is not a high-end board. A lot of high-end boards, if you have a failed overclock, you just turn it off and turn it back on.
Andy killed it.
I don't think this thing can do that. I probably have to pull the CMOS battery.
Antonio's 2142 says Gordon is clearly not a Platinum Games fan. He just plays wargaming.
What is Platinum Games?
Oh my God.
They make the Bayonetta. Gordon did not play with the GPU memory setting in the BIOS.
No, I
The
didn't.
default must be just half a gig.
Yeah, default is 512 megs. So, I mean, you can crank up to 2 gigs for the UMA. But, you know, if you have 8 gigs of RAM, you got to consider what's right. I haven't really had a chance to really get too far down that rabbit hole
I think
yet.
the problem was you need a nice cool Coors Light to cool the PSU.
Question is, where's the... See, I need to reset the CMOS. These cheap boards...
Oh yeah, WTF Shelly says it's the Coors build, light and tasteless. We should make a Coors Light build. That would be funny. And somebody was asking about HDMI and DisplayPort on this motherboard, and Brad answered them. Thank you, Brad.
DisplayPort and HDMI on this motherboard. I'm going to guess most of them have both these days. Question is, where is the jumper? I did it the other day. I think it's in a really, really bad place. It does have RGB support, though. I guess, to be fair, this is not a super cheap motherboard.
No.
It's 120 bucks. But, you know, many ITX boards can get super pricey, too. So.
Ruru2 says it might be on the underside.
God, I hope not. No, that would be bad. I did it the other day.
Take apart the whole thing.
That would make Gordon a very sad person.
See, we were running in everything. I should have just left it. We'll just run it at 2133. Come on. I don't want to have to, to get to the battery. I thought it was like in a really dumb place, like you had to get.
It's under the fan.
Oh, do you have the, wait, this might be it. Well, that could be it. I don't know.
Good.
Why don't you
Does
hit it?
anybody, where's the manual for it?
I don't know.
Oh, now he
Gordon.
wants the manual. I will grab you the
It's in the
manual.
box, probably.
Hopefully. Nope. Well, no, it isn't.
I'm just going to short it. It's got 2 pins. That might be it.
Yeah, might as well.
With the screwdriver?
Well, metal, right? So.
Moxel on Twitch is asking, what setting did you change in the BIOS that
Oh.
killed it?
Sorry,
Oh,
this is
where
Korean. You look for it in English.
You loaded up an A.
I just I set I set it to the XMP1 profile. You know, all the testing again I did on the G.Skill memory.
How am I already in Korean? Oh, right, there you go.
The Jodu says, just boot it without the RAM.
Yeah, JBAT1. But where the heck is JBAT1?
Oh, you need the diagram?
Oh, I just need to know. Oh, that was the chassis intrusion. Okay, that's. There we go. So we need JBAT1, which is. Oh, see. Oh wait.
Oh.
It's right there.
So that's really good.
Not a good place.
It's on the-
That's.
You're gonna have to take the power supply out. This is life building with mini ITX.
Yep.
Well, but you know, I gotta say, like, if you pay now again, this is not a terrible motherboard by any stretch of the imagination because it is $110 to $120. But on very nice high-end motherboards, they will have a reset button that goes through the I/O shield,
Oh, nice.
right?
You pay what you get for sometimes, or get what you pay for, rather. I'm thinking of lunch.
I know, right?
There's pizza in the fridge waiting for me.
Lucky. This is always the most interesting part of the build is the end.
Because everybody's. All
I
right.
feel like we've reached like the chill zen part of the build now. We're no
Yeah,
longer.
You just gotta hang back and let Gordon try to.
I mean, now we have people being like, did Gordon really never play Devil May Cry?
Oh
you
no.
know.
No.
No. He's like, wait, what do you think the game, Gordon, what do you think the game Devil May Cry is about?
It's I think it's actually like isn't it based on a song?
It's based on Dante's Inferno.
I was thinking actually like a Boy George song. Isn't there a Boy George song that's based
About devils crying?
on? Dang it. I can't get to it.
We should just come up with. We bring game titles, and Gordon comes up with what game that is.
Oh no, we should play. We should like come up with random titles and then throw in some platinum ones in there and be like, is this a real game or not? Like, what is it? Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Yeah.
There we go.
No Revengeance, just Vengeance.
No.
Vengeance. No, it's Revenge.
It's
Revengeance.
Revengeance.
Yeah.
Well,
You think is that a real game? Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
could be. They're all the same, for God's sake.
They're all the same.
They're all the same. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just not a Metal Gear Solid kind of fan. I just.
Whoa, he actually knows the
Hey,
franchise.
he knows Metal Gear Solid.
Whoa.
You know why? I had to learn them so I could make fun of console players at the magazine, at like Next Gen, at the other magazines that work nearby.
Also,
I
Brad,
knew about those video games, so I only knew about them ironically.
Brad says maybe
Or sarcastic.
the song you're thinking of is Doves May Cry.
That'd be Prince, right?
Yeah. It's not. That would be pretty funny.
My God, the reset for the CMOS is down in here. Like here.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tight fit.
I don't even know if I was
Oh, there we go. It's back.
All right.
It's back. It's alive. Nice. All right. All right. Don't worry, everybody. It's back. So what changes are you making, Gordon?
I'm going to change the boot.
What are you not gonna change this time?
Don't forget the RAM.
Should I do it?
No.
Let's just do. I got to open. We'll do 3200.
He's like,
Seal 16
he's like, I pulled out the
3200.
power supply. I can short that anytime I want
Yeah,
now.
now we're already. I did all this work. We're going to do it again. 2133 just sucks. That's just.
It's true.
yeah,
It is true.
Ziv on YouTube
we
says
have a chart that
try
proves
2666.
Is the one in front of you?
No. Yes. No.
Is it?
This one. This one.
There it is. It loaded.
Yeah, so I gotta say, I think the XMP profiles and these BIOSes are pretty early. Just so you know, right now we're idling one hard drive, older hard drive, so it's not going to be the most power efficient. An MLC SATA SSD, 2200, and 8 gigs of memory. We're idling on the watt meter at about 41 watts. So what do we want to run?
Actually, it just dropped even further.
Oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah, because I
so-
think it was
yeah,
still
we're
in the
just
middle
still-
of boot.
So-
So now it's down to like the low to mid 30s at idle.
So about 28 watts right now. So what are we going to do? I'm not going to, let's see, I can do, we want to run Crisis or 3D Mark?
Crisis.
Crisis.
Oh no, I did the wrong thing.
What'd you do?
I started it. Oh, this is cool. This is a glimpse for people who don't know. We're talking. This is a time machine here. We are taking you back. Pretend you're in a museum of video
my
games
goodness.
to 2007.
Nice.
This is Crisis. This is the meme that everybody talks about.
Crytek.
Can it-
Have you invested in your Crycore
Can
yet?
it play Crisis? Now, I will say, at the very same meeting where Jensen announced the 8800 GT, one of the key developers, the lead developers of Crytek showed up. And of course, you get your...
The Jodu's asking, why was Windows 10 already configured?
Because, so, just so you know, this is the same SSD I've been using all the testing on. So I've done all the testing on this very same SATA drive. Because we wanted to be able to boot the machine up and run a couple things like Crisis on this APU rather than having you
Maximum
watch
power.
us install Windows 10 for 20 minutes.
So listen, we have a good point.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a really good point here from Rusty. He's been making really good comments this show. Thank you, Rusty. Well, we haven't done it for the 1920 by 1080 build, but after this, we're gonna go run some benchmarks, and there will be a video kind of summing up, all the benchmarks and the testing, to see if there's anything we change, anything we do different. So look for that on YouTube, definitely. But I think one of the games we're gonna have to benchmark on this system is Bayonetta. Yeah, which is on Steam. So yeah, we're just gonna have to
Bayonetta.
get the Bayonetta and run some benchmarks. So thank you, Rusty. We'll definitely include that in the post video.
For some reason, I can't use your mouse, but
What's wrong with the mouse, Gordon?
I don't know. So right now, we're at 16 by 9. Oh, this monitor must have thrown up. So let's see if we can get. Oh, hey, this is a weird resolution on this monitor. So let's run 16 by 12. That would be right, huh? The question is, can I get to apply?
You sure the mouse is not working?
Yeah, for some reason it's just not.
Why don't you try to plug it? Is it plugged in the front or the back?
Well, for some reason I would click and it wouldn't do anything.
It's
So
working there.
one thing I found, I downloaded this demo. This thing came out in 2007, folks. We're looking like, that's a long time ago. So it doesn't really work right because normally it will produce a score at the end you can analyze. Can't get it to work. Let's go ahead and run the GPU benchmark.
We've got a couple people saying Cinebench is their favorite testing tool.
Oh yes, that's the best game I've ever run. So we're gonna run this now. 16 by 12, very high. Oh, I think it should still be on very high.
We also have Bastille, I don't know how to pronounce it, over on Twitch saying you should run the Tomb Raider benchmark to see if it's running at your specs. Jay's 2 cents, his build was crashing even though it was on stock settings and medium graphics.
Yeah, I saw that. He had a lot of issues with this build. Sounds like he had a bad part. So now we're at 24 frames a second.
So it might as well be a console, right, at this point.
Dude, this is Crisis. Can you run Crisis on your Bayonetta? Your Nintendo Bayonetta? No, you can't.
So 20 frames a second, and what was the resolution?
So now we're up to 25. We are running at 16 by 12. Very high, I think. I'm pretty sure. We can go back and check it afterwards. 26 frames a second right now, average. 24, 25. At the very end, it'll tell you what the last loop was. So we'll see. So for people who don't know, even though they say, will it run Crisis? Back in the day in 2007, this thing would crush your system. You could barely run this game, and people would just like, they would cry when they tried to run this. I will say, this is back then though, when people would run it though, right? They would go like, oh my God, I need a better video card. We're getting killed here. Today, instead of saying that, they would go like, this is a badly optimized game. It's not
actually, I was
it's
just
not my system's fault.
I was just about to say that. We had people in the comments saying, like, actually, I would do Crisis 2 or 3. It's way more optimized.
Right, because Crisis 2, and I will say, hey.
Oh, uh-oh. What happened?
Yeah, so the
Gordon?
demo does not, it just, oh, hey, that's interesting. Got this far. Usually what happens is you get an error. Let's make sure. So again, we were running, let's make sure, graphics, 16 by 12, no AA, and where is
Yeah,
that?
hit advanced.
Center advance, here we go. Very high.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can see here.
24
very
frames
high.
a second, which is what the human eye can see, right? Video people,
Yes.
24 frames a
Console
second
players
is
will
all
tell
they
you.
need.
Cinematic.
It's cinematic gaming, That's,
Dude, so that was that. So yeah, that was 24 frames a second in the
oh, buy it now.
Oh, wow, it
Be
actually
the first
ran
to
this
suit
time.
up.
in 2007. See, you get this message. It says normally you would produce a benchmark file. So that was a GPU test. There's also a CPU test.
Sponsored by Crysis.
Sponsored by Crysis.
Doom 2016. We should definitely try on it.
Yeah,
the
makes sense.
Bayonetta.
The Bayonetta.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about Doom is it's Vulkan, so AMD has a nice little advantage there.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I have not. So the only instability I had was on the 2400G trying to run XMP profile on the G.Skill modules that AMD provided all the reviewers. So that was really the only issue I ever had. So in fact, I had no problems at 2933, which is where I ran all my testing on the 2400G. 2200G, rock solid.
So what
So
are we
we
getting
are
now?
seeing 22, 24 frames a second average. And look,
Bastille on Twitch says 11 years later it runs 24 frames a second.
on an APU though, let's
Yeah,
remember,
yeah.
we're talking about on a $99 APU. We're running Crysis here.
Do you have the Tomb Raider bench on here?
I do. I don't think
We
I
also have
have.
results if we want
I
to.
have Rise of the Tomb Raider. I did not install Tomb Raider. So my rationale for not wanting to only run Tomb Raider was Rise of the Tomb Raider has gotten some AMD Ryzen optimization, so you don't really get into the whole politics of the benchmarks. So that last run was 23 frames a second, and just for reference, a 8800 GTX with a Core 2 Duo E6600 got about 28 frames a second. I mean that.
Core 2 Duo, nice.
Right.
Wait, 8800 GTX?
Yeah, an 80.
Or
So
8800 GT?
it was the 8800 GTX.
Oh, okay.
So I pulled up some numbers from PC Per, and they were getting 28, 29 frames a second with a $650 graphics card from 2007, but still. We are running that on a $99 GPU. That's just amazing.
That's
Look
what
at
10
this.
years will do.
Yeah, we
this?
have some people asking about the Tomb Raider. What about the Tomb Raider results?
I can. Well,
Rise
I
of
don't
the
have.
Tomb Raider.
That's fine,
I have
yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Da 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 da. So many charts.
Why don't you hold that up for the camera?
Where are we getting it?
Look at all the numbers.
Numbers.
Numbers. You can keep it back. It's fine.
So what do we get? So we were getting on this very part, the 2200, with a DDR4 at 2400, we're getting
this
40 frames a second. So 720 medium, no AA, 40 frames a second, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a lot harder to run than Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, I would say you should expect 60 to 70 frames a second at that setting. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a serious, not easy for it to run. So 40 frames a second.
Ziv is confirming. Is this Ryzen of the Tomb Raider?
Yes, this is. Oh wait, no, that's not it. That's Crysis.
What?
No, it's Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, Rise.
I was making a joke.
He's
Rise
making a pun.
of the Tomb
He's
Raider.
making a pun.
Yeah, so
It's-
that was Rise of the Tomb
Chorus
Raider.
has started to kick in.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, no AA 12x7, which is ugly as hell, by the way. DX11 mode, not DX12. A lot of people did run DX12, and I think maybe they had some issues. I mean, DX12, there is a performance penalty to pay, I mean, come on, you're running at a $99 APU or $107 APU. Do you really give two damns about a DX12?
So
you know?
at this point, though, I mean, we're running this. What's the power draw, and what about the heat?
87.5-ish.
What kind of heat are we thinking?
I have no idea. 87 watts running Crisis.
Oh, that's not bad.
Nope.
It's not bad. Not bad for
I
total
mean,
system
and
draw.
do you think
That's not sucking.
do you think you're going to have a problem with heat with this build?
No, again, people kind of are really down on stock coolers, but AMD, Intel, they've done their engineering work. They have really, really smart people that go like, if you run this at stock speeds with, the way we intended, you should have no problems basically running this till the world ends.
So, and we also have some people asking about dedicating more VRAM to the graphics card.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, let's try it out, see if that'll change anything. So at least we know right now in Crisis, we're getting around 23, 24 frames a second.
Yeah.
Let's dedicate some more VRAM and see what happens. Shall we? And then we should probably wrap it up because I'm getting hungry.
You're getting hungry. Gotta get some
Lunchtime.
eat.
Yeah, we got to get some more of those Coors Lights in here.
Pizza.
If it's only taking 80 watts, could you throw a battery pack in there and make this into,
A VR backpack?
or a portable gaming?
Oh, kind of like the Bayonetta, the
Yeah.
portable console, the Bayonetta.
Yeah, I suppose you could. I mean, you're looking at less than a gaming laptop would draw, but it does seem. What are we doing? Oh, we're gonna increase the. Where did they hide that? Integrated graphics. So-
We got a couple people talking about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Have you heard of this game, Gordon? PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds?
PUBG,
Yes.
I have heard of it. I haven't even downloaded it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, because some people are wondering how that, which is a pretty, it's an intensive game, but a
yeah.
lot of people want to play it. It's the hot stuff right now.
We'll install it. We'll run it on here for the follow-up story. I got to say, I think Paul over at Paul's Hardware, a YouTuber, great YouTuber, he ran it and it wasn't pretty. But, it ain't pretty on very high-end, expensive hardware.
Sure.
So if you're expecting,
Well, hey, you know what? And we can compare that to the Xbox One X.
right? Are people playing that?
PUBG, we'll
you're-
just see how it performs. We'll just see. So what are you doing here? What are you changing?
So we just changed the frame buffer from the default of 512 megs to 2 gigs. We'll run Crisis again just to see if it changes anything.
Well, do you want to take a guess?
Probably not.
No? Nothing?
I did run it on Rise of the Tomb Raider and Time Spy didn't budge. And the other problem too is you're remembering if you're limited, you only have 8 gigs of RAM. Now you have 6 gigs to run your operating system and your game on. Could get a little tight.
Yeah, at this point, people are saying move up to 16 gigs and dedicate more. But once again, the build dictates
Yeah.
what you're going to put in it.
But again, it's you could build not this exact build, but if you went with a cheaper motherboard and cheaper case, you could do this whole thing with a $99 for the OS for $500. No hard drive, but who cares, right?
Allosaurus is saying you can delid those APUs, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. One thing that I should also mention, besides the fact that you don't get by 16 at the PCIe slot for graphics, you get a by 8. AMD also said, hey, you know what? We went from solder, which is used in all Ryzens, and Threadripper. Unlike Intel, this has a thermal paste, right?
Infinity Fabric?
Infinity Fabric. The Infinity Fabric is using thermal a paste type TIM, which they said, hey, we did it for cost. What do you want?
Hey, what do you want?
The kitchen sink.
Yeah, kitchen sink. And I understand the anger at Intel because, if you're paying $1,000 or $2,000 for a CPU and you're getting a paste thermal interface material instead of, solder interface material, you're going to be a little steamed. So, and there's definitely documented cases of people getting an improvement from delidding and changing the thermal interface material, but
We got a lot of people loving this build. Clay says someone can,
it's, I mean,
He feels
damn.
vindicated in some way.
yeah.
Somewhat.
Well, I gotta say, I read some of the reviews, and some of them I thought were a little negative a little harsher than I expected. It's like this is not something like you're going to go out and build so you don't have to have an RX 570, which by the way is $400 now. This is something you're going to go out and build because the whole build is $500.
Right.
It's an RX 550.
Because you don't want to spend $400.
Right, and you're
on a
getting
570.
Again, we're getting quad core Zen cores. You know, reasonable.
I mean, look at the numbers here. Rise of the Tomb Raider, 720p, medium settings. Core i3 7100, which is about the same price as this APU. You get 14 frames per second. This, you get 40 frames per second in Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's not pretty, but you can play it.
Right.
You can play. And I mean, that's AAA games. I mean, there's so many great indie games on Steam, you know. Have you heard of a game called Dream Daddy, Gordon?
Is that?
What do you think the game's about, Dream Daddy?
That's where you go in and a virtual psychoanalyst, you tell him or her about your dreams, and they then interpret them for you.
I would have guessed it's a dating sim.
Well, yes, you were right.
You lay down on the couch, and then you tell them about your dream of like, I was dreaming there was a micro center in my neighborhood, even though there hasn't been one in 5 years, and I saw a shelf of GTX 1080 Ti's, and they were
MSRP.
They were $600, and I bought 2 of them. And I went up and I got in line, and I got up to the cash register, and they said, "Oh, sorry, those aren't in the system. I can't sell them to you. You have to come back tomorrow." What does that
What a
mean,
dream.
doctor?
What a dream.
I mean, well, I tell you, it's a lot of frustration about not getting RAM and getting your high-end video card.
Gordon would be a great therapist. Real quick, so we've updated the VRAM.
so-
what are the numbers?
So now we're at 27 frames a second. So we're
Okay.
getting nice.
3 more
Well,
frames.
right here. The last one was 26 frames a second.
Okay, a couple
So yeah, you're
frames.
getting a little more. You know. It's-
Also, we got a great question from Bastillewy. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry, dude. Is there again a temp offset on the sensors like on Ryzen and TR4 chips?
there is not. The offset, which did confuse a lot of utilities, they have fixed. So definitely, if you're going to be looking at the temps, make sure you download the latest version of CPU ID or whatever your favorite utility is, because they did fix the offset. So I think offset is also a polite way of saying, oh, we got the number wrong. So, because it's like, take it in minus 50. It's like, why didn't you just make your 0, 0 instead of having me take 50 off of it? Well, because...
Just a couple more quick follow-up questions. Raphael over on Facebook says, any laptops with this chip?
Yes, there are 3 laptops, Lenovo, Acer,
And HP. And HP Envy line.
HP Envy. I haven't seen them myself.
Yeah.
I think the question there is, how's the battery life on it? I don't know. But I think some of the reviews I've read, the battery life was not stellar. So, but you're definitely getting, 3 times, 2 to 3 times, 1.5 to 2.5 times performance of Intel HD graphics. But Intel does have that little thing called Kaby Lake G coming, but not cheap.
But different price.
Yeah. So again, we're at 86 watts. 80, 90 watts generally under a graphics load. And again, we're running Crysis.
And we have a couple people on YouTube asking, if this might be a good streaming box. You playing your games on one box, feeding it into this.
Sure.
Maybe we could test that or something. See,
Yeah.
See how it runs with Elgato.
I would think it'd be fine because you're looking at Ryzen cores. To me, the one thing that AMD did right with Ryzen APUs, because honestly, previous APUs, Bristol Ridge and Kavari and all those Llano and all those, the graphics side was always good. It was always better than Intel, but those x86 cores just sucked. It was like you had really good graphics with like something that was barely better than an Atom chip. So it was really tough to go like, oh yeah, if you're only going to play games and games that aren't CPU intensive, then it just kind of like, you started like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. This gives you everything. This gives you Zen cores, which is basically Broadwell, IPC with Vega cores, with basically an RX 550 that goes for $110, with an RX, with the Radeon, with the Ryzen 3 that goes for $100, right? So
Yeah.
$200 for $100, and of course, for the 2400, I'm not so sure. I would only do the 2400, frankly, not for the graphics because it's not a huge boost. You go from 8 CUs to 11 CUs. I would do the Vega 11 in the 2400G if I wanted the SMT, because that SMT does give you a nice boost in CPU performance, which is worth it if you're
Awesome.
going to do more stuff.
So yeah, to finish this up, the next step, like I said, we're going to do some benchmarks, including the Bayonetta,
The Bayonetta.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, you know, so some of the other you know, basic ones. But I mean, you've run a lot of these already.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're going to kind of put together a video that we'll put up on YouTube within the next couple weeks of saying, hey, you know, what do we think this is ultimately ended up being? Is there anything we would change? Any parts we would swap out? You know, and kind of go over that stuff. So, yeah, definitely tune back in. And any final thoughts, Gordon or Elena?
I still can't believe that you built it with the smaller
Power supply?
power supply.
How come? But look at all the space.
I thought, well, that's what I mean. I thought you were going to stand on that hill. You're like, here's my full-size, non-modular power supply.
That full size would have been another $15. And honestly, if I were to do this
Oh, it's
again,
about cost now. Okay.
well, yeah, because you're at this certain point. Originally, I was super excited about this pink case because I thought it came with a power supply. But it all really says is it works with the full-size ATX power supply. But if I do it again, I'd probably do a cheaper MLC SSD and then skip the hard drive possibly even. But, you know, I think you're just, again, you know, some people are lukewarm about this. You were not going to get a 1050. You were not going to get an RX 560 even out of this, right? You got to aim a little lower. This is not 1080p high gaming for $99. It's not going to happen. Just really, if your expectations are a wonderful, solid, everything 720p at high to very high, almost everything, and then some games, esports games, 1080p, you know, Counter-Strike, that kind of stuff, perfect for it. If you're thinking you're going to play, you know, Rise of the Tomb Raider at 4K for $99, it's like that is not a realistic expectation. And it's just a wonderful build. It's a wonderful part for that. If you're going to do 1050 Ti or 1060, go Intel, go higher end Ryzen. This doesn't make any sense. But if you're going to build entry level, wait out the crisis. You know, again, this may be all you can get, folks. You may never see another GPU again.
It's also, honestly, a very quick and easy build as well. The only reason why it took as long as it did is because we chose Mini ITX.
Right.
We just have space constraints.
Oh yeah, we could have built this in 5 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, of course. All right, cool. So thanks everyone for joining on Facebook, YouTube, and now Twitch. This was our first live build on Twitch.
All right, cool.
So yeah, we got a lot of.
I'm
good,
gonna download Bayonetta right
there.
now.
Yeah, be sure to follow us on all the channels, and we will we'll be back next time. I think we're talking about doing a full nerd.
Yeah.
Sometime in the next couple days. So look for it there, and then yeah, thanks everybody. We'll see you later.
Oh, it's that camera.
Bye.